Hi, I'm Jessie Ahmet, host of Valley News Now, and today I have some great tips on working remotely from Galit Ventura-Rozen. Galit works tirelessly to make a difference in the lives of others, both in her community and throughout the world. And you have so many titles and many accomplishments behind your name, but we're so glad to have you here. You love lifting women up, empowering women, and working remotely. Big topic right now. People working from home or a different location it's more common and people love it, but it brings a whole new just plethora of challenges. And so you've got some tips for us on how to make that work on both ends.
I do. As someone that was already working from home half a day even before it became a
Okay.
thing in a sense,
Yeah.
I learned early on how to almost self-manage myself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what's happening is you're going to an office, and when you go to an office, if you work for somebody, they're expecting you to show up at a certain time and expecting you to do a certain amount of work. They might even come in and talk to you.
Right.
And now you're in these four walls, which I'm actually coming into you today from my home office
Yes.
because I have a home office and a work office.
Okay.
So I think it's really important to recognize that you almost have to self-manage yourself.
Yeah.
And I want to give you guys a few tips today that work for me successfully to work remotely and have really been a big part of my own, I say self-management in a
Yeah.
sense. So Jesse, first tip,
Okay.
time management.
Yes. You hear so many people talk about, I end up working in my bed. I don't get up till noon. It's like, okay, we need to rethink.
Yes, yes. So let's get started with time management. At the end of the day, if you were walking into an office every day, you'd have to leave the house by a certain time to get there
Yep.
on time. You probably would take a lunch. Most people try to. Not all of us do, but we try.
Yep.
And then you leave at a certain time. So we're just for fun going to use the hours of 8 to 5
Okay.
because it's pretty common.
Yes.
Not everywhere, but a lot of places people are working these hours. So if you're working 8 to 5 and taking an hour lunch, you want to recognize that right away you've got to set up a schedule that's the same.
Okay.
Which means you want to get up and set that alarm if it's required by you.
Sure.
Some of us need alarms, some of
Yes.
us don't. You want to set that alarm for the time you need to wake up to get ready. And I'm doing
Okay.
this on purpose because even if you're going downstairs or going into a table or whatever it is you're working
Yeah.
at, you've got to get up, get ready, do your morning things so you can start on that time.
Okay.
So let's say 9 o'clock is when you start or 8 o'clock is when you start.
Yeah.
Make sure you're ready to go, just like if you would have walked into an office.
Nice. I bet that just helps get you in that mindset of, yeah, if I'm wearing my pajamas, I'm laying around, I'm sick, but if I get ready for work, then it's time to work.
Yes, and I know some of us, like me, I'm dressed up from here, from the waist up, right? And then I'm wearing shorts. It's okay because no one can see me.
Right. Yeah.
But that's different. But I also suggest that you put on work clothes.
Okay.
So don't get on the computer in your pajamas. That's also a mindset thing, Jesse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where when I change my clothes, I now am starting work. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So what else can we do? We got time management. How about prioritizing things? I mean, it's again
Yes.
so difficult. This is behind me here is where I work in the newsroom, and we're all in here together. So it holds you fairly accountable. You can't really I'm just going to online shop for a while because you're working with everybody. But when you're home, it's a little distracting.
Yes, so you want to have the list, and I'm a list girl. I like
Yes.
lists. It makes me feel accomplished when I mark something off the list. You want to know exactly what your goals are for today. Now, yes, my schedule is built out sometimes weeks in advance so I can look in the morning and know what meetings I have.
Yeah.
But not everybody operates that way.
Right.
Some of us have a list of things we have to get done. I want you to take that list and I want you to prioritize what are the must-dos for today.
Okay.
Take it. I don't care if it's on your computer or you have it written down in a notebook, whatever works for you. Highlight, circle, print it out, whatever. Know that these are the things I am getting done today before I finish my workday.
Okay.
That is going to help you feel like you are focused. The
Yeah.
other thing you need to recognize is that sometimes the things we think are our priority are not. Doing the dishes in the sink can wait until you're done with your workday. One of the things that I do is I like to take breaks throughout my day because most of my work is on the computer.
Sure.
So if I'm getting up and taking a break, sometimes I will go do the dishes
Sure.
because it just makes me feel good and it gets me moving around.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from my work.
Yeah.
It's my break that I'm doing that on.
Sure. So you're not just kind of throughout the day going between home stuff. You've got the scheduled time, and then if it really is bugging you to wash the dishes, then do that on your 15.
Yes, that's how I operate because I've learned that I can only sit for so long.
Yeah.
And I want to get up and stretch out. I might go outside and get some air. I highly recommend that if you can. Water the plants. But it's really important to recognize that at the end of the day, if you do not know what you have to get accomplished during that day, you'll get to the end of the day, and many of us have done this, where you go, what did I do today? I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
Especially if you're reporting to an employer or a boss.
Yep.
You want to be able to say, this is what I got done today. This is what I accomplished.
That's a great
point. This is what's on my list for tomorrow. As well as you might even want to say, are there any priorities that you want me to focus on today or accomplish tomorrow? So that way you're communicating with your employer or your boss and letting them know, hey, I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do.
Yep, I'm staying on task. Because that seems like something you hear a lot from managers now is, well, how do we know they're working at home? People installing, certain kinds of software that watches you. And I think that it always seems like somebody will find a workaround around that. What really works is that self-motivation kind of, so this is a great way to stay on task and communicate. So talking about communicating effectively with your team, with your leaders, any other tips on that?
Yes. And before I jump into that, I have to share one more tip that I forgot.
Yes.
It's limiting distractions.
Okay.
You've got to limit distractions. So this is my suggestion to you. If you keep your phone next to you, which most of us do, turn off the volume. Don't allow thinking of notifications or so on. If you need to leave your phone on because you need to worry about phone calls, keep it on vibrate.
Okay.
This way you can quickly look over, see if it's something that you need to answer or respond to. Now, I'm going to share with you something that we all know and never use.
Okay.
If you don't click on a text, they don't know you saw it. Don't open a text unless it's from somebody that's important, related to work, or for me, it's my kids.
Yep.
Sometimes it's an emergency, but recognize that phone is going to be a constant distraction. Also, your emails.
Yes.
Minimize your emails on your laptop. Don't keep it open.
Okay.
Set aside specific times to get on and look at your email. Again, if it's part of your work and you need to be constantly on your email, that's different.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do is have you recognize that we live in a world where people think you're supposed to get back to them in an instant. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Texts can wait, emails can wait. Turn off your social media notifications.
Yes.
I don't receive any on my phone.
Nice.
I've never received notifications on my phone for any type of social media because it's constant distractions.
Yes.
I go on social media because it's part of my job.
Sure.
And I then look at my notifications myself.
Okay. That's a good example for wherever you work. We, again, in the newsroom, we get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day, and you've got them on, and it's just kind of this constant, even if it takes a second to look over. That's a good tip. I'm going to steal that one for working in the office too.
It's been a big one for me. People don't believe that I don't get notifications on my phone, and I'll go to speaking events and I'll show my phone and say I only get texts.
Nice.
That's it.
That's it.
Texts and phone calls, because those people have my number for a reason.
Right.
And then, as Jessie mentioned, communicate with your leadership, communicate with your fellow employees. Some companies require that you message them at the end of the day and say, these are the tasks that I completed. If that's part of your job, go for it.
Okay.
If it's not, and they might find value in that, do it anyways. I do have employees overseas that send me an EOD, an end of the day report.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they send me and they say, these are the tasks I completed today.
Nice.
And I go, wow, look what they did. Or sometimes it's, wait, they didn't do enough. Let me reach out and find out what's happening.
Yeah.
So it's important to communicate effectively with your team members and with your bosses. If you're the one that's running the company or in upper management, communicate with your team and ask, is there any way I can support you? Is there anything you're struggling with today? What are you working on today? But that communication is not just important to stay on top of your task list, but it also makes people feel like you're reaching out. Because for people working from home, sometimes they don't have any type of communication with anybody except for through their laptop or their computer work.
And for those of us that really like being around people that are extroverts and get their energy, that is the most horrible thing. Like, it gives us COVID trauma back. But sometimes you do have to work from home, and that's so important, like you said. And I also love the way that you talked about the managers reaching out, kind of assuming that things are good, that the employee is doing their work and asking more, instead of like, how come you didn't get that done? More, what are you struggling with anything today? Is there any way I can support you? That's like a game changer.
I think at the end of the day, we still want human connection. It's just done differently today. It could even be done in an email. It could be on a weekly call with them, getting on video and seeing them. Just recognize that at the end of the day, most of us still require really almost like a human need, that human connection. So even though you're working from home, let's keep that going, because if anything, it becomes a motivation.
True. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Such great tips. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to talk about with working remotely?
I think at the end of the day, you need to recognize that if you are working remotely and you are not someone that is self-motivated, and some of us just are not naturally, you need to find the things that's going to self-motivate you. And you need to find the things that's going to get those tasks done, because at the end of the day, that is still expected of you as a person that's working for somebody. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you might lose that job. So if you're not finding self-motivation, there are ways to go out and work in communities, in environments, co-op spaces and things like that. So, or some people like to go to a Starbucks. That's great too, because there's people around you. So sometimes if you need that interaction, find ways to get out there if you don't have an opportunity to go into your actual office.
That is great. Yeah, just problem solve those. Don't just sit and go, oh, well, I have to just be at home. There's other options. I love that. Thank you so much, Galit. Love visiting with you. I can't wait to visit with you again. I know you've got a new book coming out, so I'm going to get you hopefully scheduled for that ahead of time, because I've got to hear all about it. So thank you again so much for being on the show today, and I appreciate your time very much. Again, it's Galit Ventura-Rozen, and I am Jessie Amet, your host of Valley News Now.